happen. Feel the hum in your hands. This is 4D. Heat on my palms, grip locked, heart racing. Shoes hit the pedal, whole room shaking. Jersey on my back, hair pulled low and blazing. Every turn I take, got the ghosts I'm chasing. 4D in my veins, feel that fire when I play, when I move, when I break, when I bang through the lane. 4D on my skin, when I lose, when I win, I'm alive in the light of the game I'm in. 4D, 4D, 4D. It's different. Yeah, that's winning. Stamped on the wheel like a crest. I don't just play, I live it. Every stitch says get it. From the couch to the checkered, I'm the storm when I wear it. 4D in my veins.
Hello everyone and welcome to the P1 Broadcasting Channel. You've got Murph. You've got Andrew Wood, fresh back from the World Karting Championships, and we are live at what is now an Amazon warehouse, but it's preserved forever in the sim, the glorious California Speedway for Area 51 After Dark. Indy cars at Fontana, 2 miles around, built in the late 1990s by Roger Penske on the site of a old Kaiser steel mill. This was once a super fun site. It became the world's fastest race course, and then it became an Amazon warehouse under the eyes of NASCAR. You heard me right. This track, once the home of, well, still the home of the world's closed course speed record. Gilles de Ferran cut a lap at over 240 miles an hour here. Qualifications for the 2002 Marlboro 500. Just such a tremendously fast lap. 2000 Marlboro 500, excuse me. 241.428 miles an hour. We will not be going that fast tonight. Average lap speeds in the modern car here right in the 220 mile an hour range. And speaking of speeds, let's get them up and let's get on board with AJ Hobson as he starts to navigate the 2 miles here at California. The track itself, very simple. It is 2 miles around. The corners are banked at 14 degrees. The front stretch at 11. The back stretch banked at 3. The race lap record here held by the late Greg Moore, 236.389 miles an hour. That is Hull in the mail. Here, as you'll see, we're going to touch 230 miles an hour at the end of the straightaway and in the draft, but you're not going to see laps much quicker than that. AJ Hobson goes to the top of the board, 222.215, and we're going to see some quicker laps than that. How about Ryan Kelly? Here's Ryan.
One thing about this qualifying session, Murph, is the sun. So I'm wondering how much the drivers prepared for that sun angle coming out of turn 4 there. I know it's just a sim and everything is a little bit easy to see, but if you're not expecting it, and sometimes the sim does get a little bit distracting when you're coming through. I'm sorry, I believe that's turn 2. I did say turn 4. But actually having go-kart at this track for quite a few years, Murph, we did the Sport Kart Grand Nationals off turn 4, and fortunately the sim does show a little bit of it off the side of the track there. Obviously it no longer exists, but yeah, that sun does get very, very, very difficult to see where you're going. So I think it'll be interesting for this qualifying session. It
is a sunset qualifying session, and here's the thing about that. When you are looking at it from the driver perspective, and this is about as close as we can get, right there off of turn number 2, you have a hard time seeing, and it's not so much a big deal in qualifying, but it could be a huge deal if the race starts like that, Andrew, where the sun it blinds you coming off of turn 2. And that's also, along with Michigan, the spot in the track that you have the most calamity, to be completely honest.
It's fun for the drivers in terms of doing the sim race. Everyone loves a nice day to night transition because you get a little bit more action and a little bit of the speed increase and more grip and everything like that. But just the sight lines get a little bit wonky. So I'm curious to see how the drivers navigate this tonight. But look at what some of these times that you're putting up here, Murph. They're quite close, actually. No margin for error whatsoever.
No, they're not. Gary Lovern has the provisional pole, and there's not many others that are out there that have a chance to unseat him. Matt Wagner goes second quick. He'll pip Kyle Clinworth to the outside of the front row. Primetime John Steller currently fourth. Ryan Kelly, Larry Yingling fifth and sixth. Now Craig Forsyth will bump his way into that situationship. Right now, the slowest qualifier, our man Chris Stouffer. He's nearly 10 seconds off the pace. His second lap did not count, Andrew, and so we'll look forward to seeing Chris Stouffer come from the back. It's not as though this track is difficult to pass, though. On the pole, with a lap of 223.763 miles an hour, he barely pips his teammate Gary Lovern at the line. It's Shane Coker. Gary Lovern will be to his outside. Edson Santos and Matt Wagner will make up row number 2. Kyle Clinworth. Clinty is going to go from 5th. He'll be flanked by primetime John Stellard. Then Ryan Kelly, Craig Forsyth, Larry Yingling, and Nate Fields will round out your top 10. In 11th, Nicholas Stockner, Richie Hearn go from 12th. A.J. Hobson and Eric Peterson will make up the 7th row. They'll be followed by Jeff Hysong, Frank Irwin Jr., Charles Teed, Kenny Smith, Hugo Galez, and Joseph Morales for your top 20. In 21st, it's Chris Stouffer. And where have we seen this before, Andrew? Mason Mitchum starting out back, going to try to go worse from first. He got on the podium with that strategy at Homestead. Guile Brooks rounds out your field. He did not set a time either. And Andrew, this is going to shape up to be some fun. It's 100 laps, full fuel. Range is anywhere from 37 to 43 laps, depending on how you want to slice it. I've been told the setup here is as doggone perfect as you can make it. We're going to see a lot of really good racing here tonight, my man.
Yeah, it's going to be a full tank tonight. The drivers are racing with 100% fuel, which probably leads to a little bit of a fuel-safe situation. Looks like if you really save quite a lot, you can get 35 laps. These drivers obviously just need to do 34 laps in one stint and then 33 in the rest in order to make it to 100. So we're going to see a bit of fuel saving tonight in this race, and I think you'll start seeing that right off the bat. But drivers like Christopher, Mason Mitchum, and the like are going to want to try and get up there as fast as they possibly can.
Well, I was going to ask you what the secrets were. I once saw your teammate Alex Van de Zandt do 48 laps here. I want to know how that happens.
That's new to me. I couldn't tell you that, unfortunately.
Oh,
48 laps seems like a bit much.
Well, so it's half a gallon a lap, full tilt, right? You start with 18.5 gallons. So even a guy that went to Ball State like me can figure that 37 laps. You can stretch it to as much as 43. I've done 45, but that was a lot of coasting, my man.
I think I've done 36 myself, so I don't know those secrets.
See, you're not using the draft, you're not lifting, you're not fuel managing, Mr. Wood. Come on now.
This is why I'm up here in the booth.
Oh, you're up here because you like telling jokes with me, everybody. Do want to thank everybody for tuning it in. Nice big crowd. Wayne Campbell on hand. Matt Wagner checking in the chat. If you got a question for us, make sure you hit us up in that chat. We'd be happy to talk to you on the air. Do want to thank you all for tuning in. If you haven't already done it, make sure you hit the like button on the video, ring the bell, subscribe to the channel so that you can get in on all of the iRacing fun. We are getting ready to go for round 4. Area 51 at Fontana is just about to get started. Shane Coker, Gary Lovern going to lead them down, Andrew.
Green flag, green flag.
Already seeing the field quite spread out now. They're going to start getting themselves into position to start that fuel save. Got to get a start early. It'll set you up for later on in the race. So find your position and fall in line.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing about this track, Andrew, is, that's the thing about this track is it is very easy to pass. It's very easy to be passed. This is one of those places as we watch Kyle Clinworth now. He's in a 4-wide battle. He's got Gary Lovern to the top. Ryan Kelly squirts through on the bottom. Clindy very close to Gary Lovern. They're all going to get away with it, though, as they head down the back. Ryan Kelly goes from about 7th to 3rd in one lap, and they're still 3 wide. They've got Edson Santos looking at making it 4, Andrew, as they head off toward turn 3.
And, of course, they're heading down the front straightaway where the sun isn't quite set yet on the grandstands. Looks like it's starting to set now, so the sight lines won't be too terrible to notice. But, yeah, we're seeing some good action here at the start of the race, and some of these guys are going to try and get to as far to the front as they can where they know they can save the fuel.
They are 3 wide up there for the lead, watching on board. One of the veterans in this race, Craig Forsyth, and Craig is going to be, if there's one guy that's going to take it easy and let everybody just kind of do the dance here early, it's going to be Craig Forsyth. Try to avoid the trouble. There you see him. He's big time out of the power going off at turn number 4. Craig Forsyth is in the 6th spot. But these positions, they're changing every lap. I would say, Andrew, that it's 2x2 like the start of this race, but they're not 2x2 like a race start. They're 2x2 and 3x3 all the way through the field.
It doesn't seem like the fuel save is starting yet. Oh, we came very close to some touching up front there, but it seems that most people want to lead this right now and not really just fall in line. So the turn 4 wall is starting to get a little bit close for some of these guys that are up there. So that just proves that these drivers are not really saving the fuel yet. They're going for it, and they're just trying to put themselves in a nice spot right up front.
Well, I mean, the safest place to be, Andrew, is always up at the front of the field in a race like this. As we watch from the drone cam, thank you to Whiplash Sim Cams for these amazing shots. But I tend to be one that wants to be up front here. The further back in that pack you are, the more susceptible you are to the big wreck. And so I always kind of wanted to be out ahead of it if you could. The issue here is that you've got Stellar leading, and here comes Shane Coker. He's going to look to the inside of Ryan Kelly, who's now in 2nd. In order to calm that down, you got to get teammates up at the front, start swapping and start building that wall of air. Right now, we don't have teammates at the front of the field yet. You've got Shane Coker trying to get there. You've got Kyle Clinworth coming. He's working with that crew. But they've managed, the teammates have managed to be separated. And there's something else here that needs to be mentioned, Andrew. This track is extremely bumpy. And so that plays havoc in that pack too, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. If you're not in a good place on the track, you can find yourself going over one of those bumps or one of those seams that you see, the black lines that are separating each lane on the track. And as you can see, the drivers go into turn 3 there. They're all spread like fighter jets there, trying to find their way towards somewhere. But I'm not seeing a lot of the fuel save right now, Murph. I wonder what these guys are thinking in terms of what their future strategy is in this race.
I think it's a simple run it to lap 37, 38, fill it up, run it to 75, 76, fill it up, and get home. I don't think fuel is an issue here at all. I think the issue is going to be, look at those cars bounce up and down the back. I think the issue is going to be tires. Fontana is a track that notoriously, Michigan doesn't wear them out, but Fontana wears the tires quite a bit. And it's bumpy. You mentioned the seams. You'll hear us call out during the race lanes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, etc. That's because each one of those seams, think of those as lines on the highway. You do not want to get, especially your right rear, on those seams because it will turn on old tires. It'll turn you loose, Andrew, and that could spell disaster for everybody in this pack. The entire field is less than 2.5 seconds apart as we watch the battle between Coker and Edson Santos, Nicholas Stockner, Kyle Clinworth. You've got Chris Stouffer all the way from the back involved. He's all the way up to 7th after he started 21st. He's looking to the inside of Clinworth, looking for the front.
I was just going to mention Chris Stouffer. Actually, it just shows that qualifying doesn't necessarily mean anything here. We actually have someone who's come up through the field here and is kind of supplanting himself right in the middle of this pack here in the mix. And I mean, if you look at the whole field right now, they're only spread by a few seconds, so everyone's really staying together. Everyone's kind of minding their lines and everything. Coker seems to be struggling a little bit. He's getting a little bit squirrely off the turns, but he's holding his own there in P5.
My blue chip goal just kicked in.
You think it's one of those things where maybe Chris Stouffer, knowing he's got to get through the field and knowing how this car can get with aero, is dialed up a little bit more weight jacker, a little bit more rear bar, taking a little bit of the front sway, taking the front sway bar down. He's trying to make that car turn, and it gets to stepping out on him.
That's definitely something to consider. But you're mentioning that you were talking to some of these drivers before the race started, and the setup did seem to be favoring this pack racing situation. So keeping yourself in it is really what's most important here.
You know, it is, and you're right. I was talking to some of the drivers earlier. I drove the car earlier. It really felt good. Chris Stouffer drafts up behind Ryan Kelly. Even with Stockner, they briefly were 4 wide down the back. Stouffer hunting that lead, but so is Nicholas Stockner. He's come all the way forward. He's going to try to draw a beat on primetime John Stellard for the lead. Here goes Nicholas Stockner. Can he make it? And Chris Stouffer is going to split the difference, go up the middle.
Now, even looking back towards P17, 18, 19, where Jeff Hysong is going up against Nate Fields and Kenneth Smith, there's battles all over this track right now. So I'm trying to picture myself as if I'm the driver in this race. And where do I want to be? Do I want to be kind of in the mix? Do I want to just save the fuel and hang out in the middle of the field? Or do I want to try and make my way forward? And it becomes a situation where you're just trying to make sure your car fits into some grouping somewhere. You don't want to be too far back. You don't want to be too far forward. Well, I guess maybe being forward is kind of where you want to be, but you want to try and put yourself in a situation where you can avoid any potential wrecks that could happen. But there's battling up and down this field, and some of these drivers can easily pick up 4 or 5 spots just by turning their fuel mixture up and getting a good handle on their car accordingly.
Well, the word that I use with that, Andrew, is comfortable. I want to try to find a place right now that is comfortable. You see Kyle Clinworth fading out of the picture there. He's dropped back to the 12th spot. Clindy is looking for somewhere comfortable. That's a guy that knows how to get through the field. He knows what it takes to get up to the front in short order. He's not necessarily worried about being up there right now. He wants comfort. And so for Clinworth, he's going to fall to the midfield. He's going to find cars to be around that he trusts. Here, we'll put Clindy up on the screen. He's got Craig Forsyth just in front of him. Shane Coker is there. These are guys that he races with a lot. Gary Lovern. These are guys that he races with a lot, and so he's found a place. He wants to be comfortable. You mentioned Jeff Hysong. Hysong is coming on the bottom. He's a guy that wants to go to the front. Another one that wants to go to the front right there in the Robbie Gordon machine as they go 3 wide up at the front for the lead. Ryan Kelly gets a bit squirrely. Is Charlie Teed. Now, Teed is not looking for comfort. He's looking for the front of this field. He's going to drop to the inside of, I believe, there's somebody out there in the Domino's Pizza Hot One. And I can't tell who that is.
Could it be Richie Hearn? Maybe that's in that mix there. Yeah, Richie Hearn's got the Domino's livery.
It is Richie Hearn. There he is. It threw me for a second, Andrew. I couldn't quite make it out, but there's Richie Hearn. Let's get tighter in on Richie. Not the normal paint scheme for Richie Hearn, but there he is. And he's giving it a good ride. He's up to the 7th spot. That's another car, Andrew, that started in the back of this field. Richie Hearn started 12th. He certainly wasn't up at the front. He's picked up 6 spots. Your biggest mover, though, is this man, Chris Stouffer. He just went to the lead on primetime John Stellard. They've got Stellard in the sandwich between Stouffer and Teed. Stouffer's made up 20 positions, Andrew, all the way to the lead. Took him 19 laps.
Yeah, one thing we haven't mentioned either, Murph, so far is the hybrid usage with these cars. So if you're sitting in the pack, you have a good opportunity to regenerate any sort of hybrid that you possibly want to use to make your way forward. So I'm sure that's something that Chris Stouffer and Richie Hearn, both drivers that have come from the back, have been doing strategically in order to bring themselves a little bit farther forward than they ordinarily would find themselves. And hybrid deployment is definitely something that I'm sure you can also attest to is a new sort of ability that these drivers have. They have to make sure that they harbor their recharge and then deploy it strategically. So I'm sure that that's something that Stouffer was considering during practice as well, even though he didn't expect to be qualified so far back. That's very, very important for trying to put yourself into this mix at all. And also everyone around you is doing the same exact thing.
Well, and here's the situationship with me on that. I think that the hybrid here has essentially changed the game when it comes to Fontana. Not necessarily Michigan. It's had an effect there too, but it's really changed the game when it comes to racing here at Fontana. The banking here is quite a bit more shallow than Michigan. 3 or 4 degrees, I believe, is the difference. And so that meant that in the past, without the hybrid, Fontana was a white line fest. If you got to the front where Chris Stouffer is right now, you could park it right there on the bottom the white line, and nobody could pass you. With the hybrid, it allows the driver on the outside, or even in lane 3 or 4, where you see Charlie Teed and now Nicholas Stockner making a rally up there. It allows those cars with the right run and the right press of the button to clear the car on the bottom, and so it's really kind of changed the game. It's made it a lot easier to save fuel here too.
Well, you're watching Chris Stouffer kind of ride the white line as he is right now. He hasn't lost the lead in quite a few laps now, despite the constant attacks from the drivers behind. Looks like they're trying to set up a 3-wide situation behind him. John Stellard does have the lead going into turn 3, but can he keep it all the way through 3 and 4? You see Stouffer is still down there on the white line, holding that position. Oh, he gets a little bit onto the apron, but that's actually one little bit of the apron there that you can ride just fine and not really have to worry about it. But Stouffer has to manage about 7 cars behind him to keep that white line going, and that can't last throughout this stint.
Well, no, it can't. That's the other thing here at Fontana. The way that happens is you're going to start burning off the right front by staying down there, and the more you do that, the more you raise the weight jacker up. You raise the weight jacker, you raise the ride height on the right rear, and that induces more drag, and so it becomes more and more difficult to continue to hold that line. The problem for Stellard is he's not ducking in behind Stouffer to regenerate and build a run. He's just content to kind of hang out in lane 2, and Stockner's not doing it either. If they would pull in the draft, Andrew, regen their batteries, build up a run, they'd have a chance to make the clearance, drop in front of Chris Stouffer, and then they would have the white line.
It's definitely all part of the game here, but I'm just taking a look further back in the field. Drivers like Hugo Gallas, Mason Mitchum, Nate Fields, Jeff Hysong, Edson, they're all in a situation where they have been able to save that fuel. You haven't seen the big runs by these guys back here in the mid-pack, so when it comes time to pit, probably in about 10 laps or so, we're going to really start seeing some of these guys get a little bit squirrely with the tires. Edson almost got hit there, actually, by Hugo Gallas. That's part of the same game, so you have to keep yourself very, very much in tune with the drivers around you while also trying to save the fuel to make it on 2 stops here.
Well, and here's the thing, right? Pit stops here can be a bit of a gamble, Andrew. There's 2 schools of thought. One of them, stay out as long as you can in order to make your final stop that much shorter. The other one, as we go 3 wide for the lead one more time, taking a look at Mason Mitchum here. He's made up He's made up 6 spots. He started in the very, very back of this thing. No qualifying time. He's pulled up on teammate Gary Loeber, who started on the front row with teammate Shane Coker. That Votive Racing League team very well represented. But what I was going to say, 2 schools of thought. You can either stay out as long as possible, make your final stop as short as possible, or you can pit as soon as the window opens, and that has the advantage here with 23 cars. You might be able, if you pit from the front of this train, to catch the back of the field and have 2 or 3 laps of draft from the pack to pull you forward, and you might be able to break the draft if you do that.
Well, definitely one thing's for sure, that as soon as this first round of pit stops is done and over with, we're going to see these drivers split up into quite a few different packs. It's all going to be based on how aggressive you want to be on that pit entry. Christopher still seems to be holding that lead, and we're going 4 wide through most of these turns here through this stint as it continues. And I just took a look at Edson Santos. Edson dropped all the way to 21st place. So if you think about this as if we're at Daytona and NASCAR kind of thing, Edson's like, you know what? I am not sitting in the mid-pack here. It's way too dangerous for me. Let's just save the fuel back here and see where that brings me. But you do put yourself at risk for falling too far back for the drivers that want to save that fuel and pick up some speed later on after their pit stop happens. So I think the drivers who pit first here are going to have a little bit of an advantage. There's an incident in turn 3. Stouffer, I think,
All right,
just
man.
hit.
Caution is out.
Big time hit for Chris Stouffer. We got to try to.
Forsythe also involved. I think Craig Forsythe drove into it and he just had nowhere to go. But let's take a look.
Let's have that look. It's Stouffer and primetime John Stellard. They're racing for the lead. That's Chris Stouffer on the bottom. And you're going to see all heck break loose right here. Kenny Smith is on the top line. I think Stellard comes down, thinks he's clear. He is not. They hook up, they touch, there they go. The cars get hooked together, and then Stellard releases up the track, hits Craig Forsythe. That is Gary Lovern also involved. Meatballs for all 4 of those cars, and that is a hard lick for both primetime John Stellard, Chris Stouffer, and Craig Forsythe. There's the contact between Forsythe and Stellard. Big crash from Forsythe, and let's show the fans at home how this looks from inside, because this is going to be dramatic. Look up over the left front mirror. There you see the contact, and Craig's saying, "Don't come up I got it." Oop, nope, and just a hard lick.
Yeah, I'm trying to see who the other driver was. So Nate Fields did get hit there when he was trying to come by Forsythe. I believe the other car involved that did get a little bit was Gary Lovern. I think Gary's car might be no, Gary's left front was broken and then repaired itself.
Edson Santos spins into his pit box. That's news. A little bit too much rear brake bias there for Edson. He goes around trying to get his car in for service. Now he's got to back it up, but he'll be at the tail. He will rejoin at the tail end. Craig Forsythe has disconnected. John Stellard had to tow, and so he is not able to effect a fast repair and continue along. Do want to point out that Nate Fields did take his fast repair, as did Chris Stouffer. Those 2 machines remain on the lead lap. Forsythe and Stellard continue. Forsythe and Stellard continue under tow, and that gives us a new leader. It's going to be Richie Hearn.
Well, another thing that's very interesting here is based on when that caution came out, now the fuel save has really gone into effect. So the caution came out lap 30. We're going to restart probably lap 34, I believe, if the pace car is going to turn its lights out now. A little bit of a fuel save, so not really too much different in the strategy department right now.
I don't think it's a fuel save at all. If they're on full tanks, they should be able to go at minimum 37 laps. So I think we're okay on fuel. Again, it's going to be the tires that give up, and also something that we didn't necessarily talk about in that run, Andrew, is mental. These cars drive very, very good here, especially on a custom fixed setup for a league environment like this is. They drive pretty doggone good. The mental game, though, here, Andrew, is huge. You lose concentration for just a split second, and you wind up like primetime John Stellar, just making the clearance a little bit too early, and you're hard in the wall. And for Stellard, he's 2 laps down. He's back in line now, but he's 2 laps down. Craig Forsyth is a lap down, eligible for the lucky dog at the next caution. But the mental game here is huge too, as Richie Hearn gets ready to go back to green flag action.
I don't know what Kyle Clemworth pulled off onto the back straightaway briefly. I'm not sure what that was about, but Craig Forsyth has rejoined. It seems he might have had some technical issues, but Forsyth is back in the field again. But yeah, Rich Hearn's going to be our leadoff driver here, and
Green flag, green
you're
flag.
right. I don't think that there's going to be too much of a fuel save going on, but at the same time, the drivers are going to be very, very split up. It didn't seem like the gaps were closing too much in the back of the field, so we have quite a big spread of drivers that took green flag at separate times here.
They will. The other thing is, though, Andrew, they'll accordion back together before too much longer. The way these cars draft, there's just no way for them to get spread apart for any length of time. As long as they're within 1.8 seconds, or 1.6 to 1.8 seconds, you can draft up on somebody else. And even as ragged as that start was, there's only 6 seconds between the leader and Guile Brooks, who's at the very back. So I don't think that it'll be too much longer. We'll have everybody back together again. They'll put the band back together up front. And the band leader right now, A.J. Hobson and Charles Teed on the top. He'll lose the lead to teammate A.J. Hobson there on the bottom. Shane Coker has rallied back to third. He's got Ryan Kelly and Nicholas Stockner with him. And look at Eric Peterson. He's driven his way up to the 6th spot.
Yeah, a lot of these positions are going to change as the run goes on, of course, but yeah, it seemed like Christopher was able to hang that bottom line and hang the white line very nicely. So I think the leader does have the advantage a little bit. Stockner does have quite a run going on Coker, though, and I think he's going to clear Charles Teed going into turn 3, and he does. So yeah. Nicholas Stockner takes the lead right now. Really great running, and that we're talking about him as he's had a little bit of some bad luck in previous races, but Stockner now kind of leading the field, but it won't be long before the drivers catch back up.
No, it won't, and that's the idea here. Is it's very difficult to grab the lead and hold it. Now you see Stockner, he'll fade up, block the high line. Here comes Shane Coker to the bottom. He'll make it 3 wide on Kelly and Teed. Shane Coker will slice back to the lead after he started on the pole. He was back. Now Shane Coker had dropped back almost to the end of this line, and here he is leading the race again after a yellow, just past 1/3 distance. Now Ryan Kelly, he'll go to the outside and draft past Coker, but he can't make it stick. Here comes Coker back on the inside.
Yeah, Coker definitely looked like he was struggling a bit in traffic once he fell back past 6th, 7th place or so. Now he's managed to find himself back in the spot where he's able to run back at the front again, and I think that that car works better with the cleanest air quite possible. But that whole entire field from 3rd to about 17th or so is right there, and as you mentioned, the accordion just came back together again. So
yeah,
to see how it happens.
It did when we talked about that. The field was separated by 6 seconds. Now it's half that. Guile Brooks in 21st, 3.2 seconds behind instead of 6. And so they've all come right back together. Do thank everybody for joining in, tuning in to the fun. You're watching the Area 51 IndyCar Series After Dark. You've got Mark Murphy, Andrew Wood with you. If you haven't already done it, make sure you hit the like button on the video, ring the bell, subscribe to the channel so that you can get in on all the fun. We've got racing every night this week, Saturday too. Sunday's the only night off for us. And Andrew, you had a bit of a fun time. You missed a couple of weeks. I missed a couple of weeks. It's good to be back in the booth. You had more fun than I did, though.
I absolutely did, Murph. We definitely had to take our summer vacations and our summer breaks and kind of do our own thing. My life has been a little bit wild this summer, but we're starting to get right back into the swing of things here again. And very, very excited to be back here watching Area 51 racing. And part of me wishes I was still in the car, but also part of me wishes I wasn't in the car. So I'm very happy to be up here with you.
I'll tell you what, we should do a special race where you and I run it. We'll just call it from the booth as you see Jeff Heisong slice to the middle. And that's now 3 team cars at the front. And here's the other one. That that you might not realize. If you get 3 cars up there, Andrew, you can really control the pack because you can essentially stack them up 1, 2, 3, and nobody's going to be able to drive around you.
No, I just watched Kenny Smith drive past about 5 cars on the front straightaway up the middle. He almost made contact with Richie Earn. He almost made contact with Kyle Clemworth. And wow, that was very, very close there with those drivers. But Chris Stouffer is still part of this conversation, Murph. He is back there in P8, right up the middle there. Kind of followed Kenny Smith up the middle. Clemworth takes the bottom. Coker comes up. Stouffer is still there in the middle. And everyone's just trying to find their way, and that is such the hardest part of racing here at Auto Club.
It is. Do want to welcome Indy Kirchenbauer into the chat, fresh off of his run in the Indy Next Series, Oval Series top split at Darlington. That's got to be interesting when we go 4 wide for second.
But there was a little bit of contact there, actually, Murph, between Clemworth and I don't know who that is. Was that Jeff? Jeff was there. Yeah, Jeff Heisong now supplanted himself right into 3rd spot there, and Clemworth tried to take the bottom. There was a little bit of miscommunication, but everyone gets out unscathed. But this group is starting to get a little bit worrisome, Murph, if you ask me. Some drivers who don't particularly see themselves up front running too much, and they're just trying to draft and find their way up front. And poor Richie Hearn that restarted on the first position there has now fallen back to about 8th or so.
Yeah, there's Richie in the hot one, and he's got Mason Mitchum approaching him from the rear as Kyle Clemworth has a look at Charlie Teed for the lead. Clindy actually got to the lead briefly in turn number 2, and now Teed, the bottom side, will prevail. Heisong is going to make Clemworth the meat in the sandwich. And you're right, there are some drivers up there that they're just not used to being in this situation. And that cuts a couple of different ways, right? You always want to see guys who don't get a chance to run at the front and don't get a chance to win a lot of races as we get to halfway. You want to see them get toward the front of the field, but also, if you're one of these drivers, if you're Kyle Clemworth, that's a little scary sometimes because you don't know how that guy runs. You don't know his tendencies. You don't know a lot about him. Maybe he may only run this one league. There's Kenny Smith, and look at how wild loose that machine got going through turns 3 and 4. And he's right next to Clindy. And if you're Clemworth, you're past series champion. You've won basically everything in the oval side that this car has to give. You're just hoping somebody doesn't run you over here.
That's part of the difficulty of trying to find your comfortable spot in this field. I just watched all the drivers on the high side that are really trying to stay up against the wall and use the draft to their advantage. Stockner, Lover, and Mitchum, and Chris Stouffer all are up there trying to just hang out and stay in the single lane formation. Oh my goodness, that was very, very close call there with Jeff, and I think that was...
Oh, there's Shane Coker and Nicholas Ryan Kelly just about came together.
Yeah, that high side is where you want to be for the safest situation going down the straightaway because you could just follow the rear wing of the car up ahead of you. But when everyone dives below you like that, it's very difficult to try and time it so that you're right inside the best possible situation entering turn 1 there. But these drivers, really, this just shows the caliber of drivers in Area 51 that you have to be basically driving with a 360 gyro cam every single time going down one of these straightaways.
You do, and you do have, of course, you do have the NSIM spotter, Andrew. There are tools available, third party. I used to use one that had it had lights on either side. If we jump, let's jump on board Ryan Kelly here. But I used to have one that had lights that would light up just in the void there between the mirror and the dash. That would tell me if somebody was inside or out. That seemed to work a little bit. But you're right. You got to have your head on a swivel. And Kelly, he's doing just about the right thing, or all he can do. You don't see him lifting a whole lot here. Maybe just breathing the throttle a little bit as he comes forward, and he's going to be all over the backup now to the outside of Kenny Smith.
Well, I disagree with you, Murph. We got a fuel-safe situation going on right now. You can watch the drivers, especially the front five, go into turn one, and they all start to slow up a bit, and it is catching some of the 10th, 11th, 12th place drivers off guard a little bit. I think everyone's sort of gotten the message now, but you do notice that the speeds do decrease a little bit on the entry to the corner, which is sucking the rest of the drivers in the mid-pack up into them. And they're putting themselves in a situation now where, okay, that happened last lap, it'll probably happen again this lap. And that's where you have to really find which line works best for you. And if you're in the middle, you have to stay in the middle. But you have to make sure that the driver in the middle doesn't just halt on the throttle too much. You can see that Ryan Kelly and the driver next to him.
It's Kenny Smith.
That's Kenny Smith, yeah. So you can see that those two drivers in particular are at the front of the line there. So they're halting the progress a little bit, which is allowing some more movement in the middle of the pack. And some of the drivers that are perhaps on a clear line to move forward, they're doing so. So we're in a fuel-safe situation right now. These drivers are no longer going for the full mix and full rich situation. As you can see, Richie Hearn on the outside there, just past 1, 2, 3, perhaps 4 cars if it gets by Charles Teed. So when the outside starts working, that's when you notice that the drivers are doing fuel safe. Very close moment there with Kenny Suge. Shane Coker also just had a very close moment. So that's where this fuel safe situation needs to be understood. And these drivers are kind of driving these corners at different speeds.
I was going to say, Kenny Smith has had that car way out of shape 3 or 4 laps in a row. He pulls it back alongside Kyle Clemworth. Chris Stouffer has gone to the 3rd spot, and he'll claim that over Nicholas Stockner. And then you've got a battle royale from Ryan Kelly in 5th on back as they go 3 wide, almost 4 wide. One more time for the lead, but Clemworth continues to hold that bottom. They are about a second off of their ultimate pace, so there may be some mapping going on, but there are at least 4 cars who are eager to lead this race. So if it is a fuel deal, as you say, Andrew, they made it 32 on the first run. That would mean they need to make it to at least lap 69 in order to make it home. That would be 14 more. That would make them 37 on this stint. They're working 23. They're going to get 24 now. So remember, the yellow came out 32 last time.
Well, you kind of stole my next question I was going to ask you, which was something you ask me every single time we commentate together, Murph. What is the lap that these drivers are looking for to make sure they make it to the end? And you were saying 69 is probably on the safer side, but
yeah,
drivers come in a little earlier.
I always want to give myself the lap cushion. Ever since, and I'll tell you why that is. We were at a top split race, and this has been back in the old channel days. Myself and Trace Shadid had the thing wired. I mean, I was gone. He was second and gone. And we wound up in a situation where we had the wrong fuel number, and I ran out of gas leading the race. And I vowed then that I would never again run out of gas leading a race. So I tend to give it an extra lap or whatever I think. I'll give it one more. How's that, Andrew?
Yeah, that's definitely the way you want to look at it. You want to give yourself a buffer if it's possible. You want to give yourself that chance to have that last 5 3 to 5 laps or so to go full rich and try and make up a spot if you can. If you put yourself in a situation where you're just fuel saving to the ultimate amount, you can't do anything except hope the drivers ahead of you wreck, right? So I think that's something to consider as well. But some of these drivers, they all have different agendas. Even though they're all racing nicely together right now, they're all looking at what lap they're on. And they're going to say, okay, what lap am I going to come in here and make it to the end of the race? But you're right. I think that making it to 69 is definitely safe, but that would mean doing 37 laps. And some of these drivers out front that have been leading this race the whole time probably can't do that amount of laps there to make it to there.
We'll see. The pace hasn't really slowed all that much. It's still anywhere between 32.8 and 33 seconds a lap, which again is a second off the ultimate pace, which all of those best laps out there are draft laps, and so it's kind of hard to know exactly what it is. Clinworth continues to lead it, and he's had Kenny Smith all over his right side for about the last 10 laps. Now Ryan Kelly is going to make it 3 wide for the lead. He'll drill lane 3. Can Ryan Kelly break up that duo? He doesn't quite get clear, and the bottom will continue to prevail, Andrew. I'll tell you something else that Clinworth is really good at is being able to regen his hybrid while he's in clean air on the bottom. And that is allowing him to regen a little bit and deploy a little bit, and it's enough so that Kenny Smith and Ryan Kelly and whoever else can build a run can't quite clear him.
Well, some of these drivers are saving a lot of fuel like we've been talking about for the last several laps, but I think when a driver is getting ready to take their pit stop, they're going to try and make their way.
Whoa, big loose to Nicholas Stockner, and he just about wads it up. Yeah, that's Stockner on the apron, and he'll drop from the top 5 all the way to the back of this train. He'll join Guile Brooks and Larry Yingling back there, and that's a name that we haven't mentioned at all. 2 names that we haven't mentioned, Larry Yingling and Guile Brooks. They're just hanging out back. They took one look at this mess and said, I want no part of that. But there's Yingling and Brooks. We've seen both of them run very well. Yingling in the hunt for the championship in the last Area 51 IndyCar Series season. Guile Brooks, a regular visitor to the podium of recent, but they're just kind of hanging out. They're saying, look, everybody, you go on ahead. We'll stay back here and save our cars a little bit.
So what I was trying to say was that I think these drivers are going to start making their way up front, especially if more drivers are saving fuel. You want to be as far up front as you can before you make this last pit stop. So some of these drivers may say, I'm done trying to save and do
everything. Whoa! Ryan Kelly hard in the wall. He's going to collect A.J. Hobson. Caution is on the speedway. Other cars involved. Ryan Kelly, hard impact. There he is. A.J. Hobson's car is destroyed down on the apron. Both of those cars with the meatball. And we got to see what happens here.
I have a great driver I want to jump on board with after we take a look at this here, Murph. But let's take a look at the incident.
Yeah, here's Kelly. He's racing alongside Kenny Smith. It looked like Smith pulled out as Kelly came down. Kelly goes up, smacks the wall, and watch, he's going to collect. A.J. Hobson. Hobson is going to go down here and just absolutely pound the inside retaining wall. Both of those cars with the meatball, they'll need to respect. And poor A.J. Hobson, just a benefit, a victim of circumstance there. Watch his hit.
That is quite the hit there, Murph. It seems that there was just a little bit of a touch there going down the straightaway, but unfortunately, A.J. Hobson's just driving a straight line as we're watching here, and he's just not driving a straight line anymore, unfortunately.
No, there's no control over the grass, and here's the hit from his roll bar. Who did you want to take a look at?
Yeah, let's jump on board with Edson Santos and see how he got through it, because he was chilling at the back watching the whole entire thing happen, and he had to find some way to navigate past the cars that are crashing up ahead, and it's going to be fun to watch.
Everybody's going to hit pit lane here. They did 33 laps on that run, and guess what lap they're going to restart on, Andrew?
I think it's 66.
Well, it's 65 now. It just turned 66. So
Probably
yeah,
67.
yeah, 67. They'll complete 67, coming to get 68. There's the accident. Watch Edson. Here it goes. Ah! He did get a little bit of damage on the front wing, but you saw it move there. But I think he should be able to effect repair fairly easily. Richie Hearn once again wins the race off of pit road from Kyle Clinworth, Eric Peterson, Kenneth Smith, and Shane Coker. Your top 5. So give Richie Hearn his flowers. He's won two races off pit lane.
Yeah, great job by the pit crew, Richie Hearn's team there. Those Domino's deliveries might really be having an effect on the situation here, Murph.
They might. Do want to thank everybody for joining us who was watching the Indy Next Oval Top Split from Darlington. If you haven't already done it, make sure you give this stream the thumbs up. Make sure you ring the bell, subscribe to the channel. You're watching the Area 51 IndyCar Series with Murph and Andrew Wood.
Murph, I actually just quickly to bring up that incident there, and especially watching Edson Santos Cam. If you remember, we were commentating the Jim Brooks Memorial race at Pocono, where we watched. I think it was Charles Johnson there that had the rear wing disabled and unfortunately spun in front of all the leaders, and that is exactly what that clip reminded me of. Edson's just trying to drive and hoping he could thread the needle through a couple of drivers there, and he just about did, just like all those drivers did in the Memorial race.
It's quite possible. Here's the other thing with that. I guess he did not get any damage because normal length pit stop, no fast repair taken from Edson Santos. So we'll reset it for you. Richie Hearn is your leader. Clindy second. Eric Peterson in the Dark Horse Menards looking car. He is now a fine third. Kenneth Smith is fourth. There he is. He's got Shane Coker behind him in fifth in the Votive Racing League machine. And then Nate Fields in the 57. Fields has used his fast repair, so keep an eye on that. Mason Mitchum in the Purple People Eater is 7th. And then Christopher in the Bruno Junqueira 40 Racewear throwback is in 8th. Stouffer has already used his fast repair as well. Gary Lover 9th, and Hugo Galez round out your top 10. Shaduga wants to know if Sean Gellard is racing here tonight. It is John Stellard, and Stellard is now 1 lap down. He took the wave around on that under this yellow to get himself back to 1 lap down. Involved in an earlier incident. Craig Forsyth got the lucky dog. He is back on the lead lap as Richie Hearn gets ready to bring us back to green flag action. 67 complete, 68 to go on the board. They did 33 laps that time, Andrew, and so I think the fuel save is probably off at this point with 33 laps to go. I think it's probably off with 33 laps to go. I think it's just run it flat out, my boy, and see if you can't get her to the front. Kyle Clinworth's going to do exactly that.
Yeah, we had another disjointed restart there. There was almost an incident in the back of the field. Joseph Morales trying to check up there and had to kind of take avoiding action. But no real harm or foul there. Just a little bit of a way to break up the field a little bit. Joseph Morales is still pointing in a good direction. We haven't talked about him much tonight, but typically he likes to take advantage of these situations where drivers are having a little bit of a poor race up ahead of him, but everyone's been kind of keeping it really clean. So Morales might have to change his strategy a little bit to go forward here. And it's just not over yet. We saw how easily these drivers can come from the back to the front. So it's quite possible that we see these drivers do it again.
Well, and there's another name we haven't mentioned hardly at all tonight, Matt Wagner in that number 6 machine. He rides along in 13th. We have not called his name since we read the grid. He's been just kind of playing possum, but he finds himself in the 13th spot. Wags looking to come forward. He's got Frank Irwin Jr. in front of him. Part-time leader Charles Teed is right there behind Hugo Galez, but it's about ready to start getting where the getting gets good. Shane Coker goes the lead over Clinworth. Clindy will drop down in front of Kenneth Smith while Peterson races with Richie Hearn to his outside.
I was just watching a little bit of an issue, possibly the Mason Mitchum there. He was taking a couple lanes up, and he almost came in contact with Richie Hearn, but we're all good. Shane Coker tried to make his way towards the front there and took the lead for a hot second, but immediately got overtaken again by both Eric Peterson and Kyle Clemworth, who are now battling for the lead.
I love this shot, Andrew, because you can see from the P1 airship just how much of a run some of these cars get. You can see the runs. You can see where everybody is. Clindy leads it. They almost look like slot cars from this angle. And Matt Wagner has joined the fight. Wags up to 7th. He's going to look to the inside of Richie Hearn for 6th. That's the red and black car underneath the red, white, and blue of Richie Hearn. Wagner is going to shoot the middle. He's going to go to the outside of Eric Peterson. Mitchum will slide in front of him. Mason Mitchum makes it 3 wide. And Clinworth went to the lead back to about 6th. In the span of one corner.
Eric Peterson and Mason Mitchum did touch right there in turn 3, but they got away with it. Mason Mitchum now really showing his stripes up here in P3. He was another driver who started in the back, and we haven't talked too much about. Just kind of waiting for his opportunity, and he's now racing in the 3 wide, I believe.
You know, he is. Kenny Smith has been up there, and Kenneth Smith has been extremely aggressive for the balance of this run. He's going to try to go back to the lead over Shane Coker. Now Clinworth, he'll climb to the outside this time. Clindy going to go for the lead the long way around. Can he make it work? Not quite enough steam, and here comes Mason Mitchum, and Eric Peterson is going to have a wild run up the inside. Now Coker is moving around, trying to give the draft to Clinworth and Mitchum. Meanwhile, Nate Fields makes it 4 wide to the top, and he is literally being bump drafted, Andrew, by Richie Hearn and Christopher.
Richie Hearn has not moved from that top line in several laps now, and he's the one who's kind of holding that outside line. I wouldn't say holding up, but holding them together. And I don't think Richie Hearn wants to be anywhere near the bottom 2 lanes right now. I think that's pretty much where he's going to plant his car the rest of the way, and that's something that I would do. Murph, I would just put myself in one lane and just see what happens. And if I start losing too many positions, okay, maybe I need to change my lane a little bit and hope that all the drama happens on my bottom 2 drivers that come underneath me. But Jeff Hysong is on the other side of the spectrum, and he is hanging on the bottom lane only.
Yeah,
he made a bunch of moves earlier, and he's just going to stick to that first and second lane down there.
Yeah, he's flying up the inside, and that's kind of what you got to do. If you're at California or Michigan, a hole, you go for the hole, Andrew. You go for where the other cars aren't. If everybody drives, or vice versa, made his move toward the front.
The top 12 are all basically throw a blanket over them. So at this point, it's just trying to see where the hole opens up and where you can move up from here. And yeah, Richie Hearn is just staying on that outside line. He's not losing really any positions. So I would call that a win for the outside line. And I was mentioning it earlier in the race. Basically, if you could just champion one line and just realize who you're working with around, you can really time your moves accordingly. And you have to really find that situation where the bottom line comes into play for you, and then you can make that move. But you don't have to do it quite yet because we still have 23 laps left.
You can. Now here's the other part of this. When you've got a setup as this one appears to be that's bottom line dominant, it really can kind of, Andrew, make the field so that it can kind of really make the field so that you get kind of like the stock car, 2x2 or 3x3 effect, and there's just nowhere to go. And that's kind of where Matt Wagner and Mason Mitchum are. They're right there, but they're right there. They've got the run, but they just don't have anywhere to go.
You could say the same for Ryan Kelly, who's made his way back up to P15 right now, and he's kind of sitting in the middle and the bottom and waiting for something to open up along the top. And Ryan Kelly was running up front for
They
much of this race. Wow, we got very
well,
close
now
to
they're
the
now
incident.
Matt Wagner's spinning through the grass. There will be no
And they're wrecking even more on the front straightaway.
All right, man. Caution is out.
hard
Caution is
contact
out.
of Joseph Morales. I believe Nicholas Stockner involved. Charles Teed is hard against the wall. So we've got a couple of different incidents, and it was all triggered. Song gets into the back of Morales. That was all triggered by Matt Wagner making contact and spinning through the grass. And here's the Wagner incident, and he's going to make contact here, I believe, with Mason Mitchum. They were 4 wide. They were trying to be 5 wide there for a second, Andrew, and I thought they were going to do it. There's the 4 wide situation. Nate Fields comes. Nate Fields and Kenny Smith are going to make contact. And then from there,
You see Hugo Gallas made the contact with Teed, I believe, up on the wall.
hey, here we go. There's Teed, and he's right behind this incident. So there's the contact between Smith and Fields. Wagner goes for the spin, and then behind that, Hugo Gallas gets into Teed. He makes contact with Stockner, Morales, and and Song, and then it looks like Craig Forsyth might have got a piece of that too. He may have been forgiven. Let's have a look at it from on board Craig Forsyth. Watch this. This is about to get hairy. Now here's another question. Do you pit?
Well, we're watching right now as the pace car goes by pit lane. Coker does not pit. Clemberth, Mitchum, Smith, Hearn do not pit, but you will have a couple. Eric Peterson's going to lead a contingent of driver.
Yeah, it's going to be.
We got about like 7 or 8 drivers right now.
Yeah, it's going to be Eric Peterson from 9th. That is the first taker, and then everybody pretty much behind him comes down pit road. Wagner's going to pit, of course. He just took the sojourn through the grass. And so there we go. Peterson down and away. I don't know that they need much, if any, fuel. But they do need. They are going to want tires. That may not make them faster, Andrew, but it will make them more maneuverable. It's going to make them handle better. And so if you're at the back half of the top 10 or outside of it, why not come and get some new shoes with 18 laps to go, 19 to go. Do want to thank everybody for joining in, tuning in. If you haven't already done it, make sure you hit the like button on the video, ring the bell, subscribe to the channel. You can get in on all of the iRacing action. We've got at least one race every night this week. Sunday we will be off, although the Votive Racing League and the Dark Horse TW12 Series generally fill that spot. You've got Murph, you've got Andrew Wood with us. Nice crowd. Want to thank everybody for tuning in, and we're about ready to see something wild here, Andrew.
Are you letting me know breaking news right now? There's no Votive or Dark Horse race on Sunday.
There isn't on the schedule on the channel. Now that doesn't mean that we haven't. It doesn't mean that we haven't made an error somewhere. Votive Season 5 schedule. Next race is August 30th at Old Atlanta, so you and I get to go slide around on the old worn-out Atlanta. The Dark Horse Season 10 schedule. Next race, September 13th at Milwaukee. So there you go, Andrew.
Old Atlanta, I'll pass on that one, Murph.
Oh, if I have to do it, you have to do it.
Yeah, we could discuss that offline.
I'll tell you this. I left Texas pretty disappointed. That is my favorite track, as you know. Had the brakes lock up trying to get in the pit lane, smacked the wall in the first race and got taken out in something that wasn't my doing in the second race, both with a podium on the line. I left that last Sunday pretty frustrated. But hey, that's racing, right?
I was just trying to survive, and I failed at both races. So that just kind of shows the audience where our two standards are for the situation. But we're looking to go back green here. We got 18 laps to go, 17 when we cross the line, and I'm interested to see what these new tires are going to do. I don't think they're going to amount to much. I'm going to take the contrarian standpoint here, Murph. It's possible they do something, but maneuverability, yes, but speed to get to the front, not really convinced of that yet.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to result in any more speed. It just might make it a little bit more drivable. The thing is, if you're back there anyway, why not? Shane Coker is going to lead into the green flag. We're going to have 17 laps to go this time through. And how about Shane Coker? We've got Jacob Collins joining in the chat. Big Shane Coker fan. 3 Votive Racing League liveried machines up at the front. It's Coker leads Clinworth, leads Mitchum from the back. Here we go. It's gonna take a crowbar and 2 sticks of dynamite to get Shane Coker off that bottom line, Andrew.
I was actually expecting you to talk about Gary Lovern's livery there, because I know he's another Votive Racing League car that's been just kind of mired in the pack. Where is Gary Lovern right now?
Gary Lovern just made a move. He's making moves up the inside. He
is coming forward, so we might have 4.
He is. There he is. Tires has not yet moved. It's Eric Peterson, the first one on tires. He is currently, Craig Forsyth is alongside Peterson. There you see him in the background with Ryan Kelly. They are 10th on back. The battle, though, is at the front, and Shane Coker has squirted away. He's actually got a couple of car length advantage now over Kyle Clinworth.
You see that the drivers kind of in the middle back of the pack are starting to suck back up to that group again. So we're going to have a nice little 15-car pack again or more. But Shane Coker still is hanging on to that bottom line. And unless we get a really big draft from someone on the outside making their way down the middle, it's going to be very hard to displace Coker down on that bottom line. So he's only got to do it for another 15 laps.
Yeah, if you're in Shane Coker's ear, you're telling him, do not leave the bottom. Whatever you do, stay right there. Don't ever venture out of, don't ever put your right sides or the nose cone of your car over that seam. Now you can put the nose on the seam just because you want to arc the corner a little bit, but don't ever move from there, because if he stays there, I think Shane Coker's got a chance to bring home his first major league win in this car. He's going to have to beat one of the best in the business, and Kyle Clinworth, to do it. Clindy marches to the outside, and here comes Christopher. He's going to make it 3 wide on the top.
It looks like these drivers are not field saving anymore, because that outside line is not really holding any group of cars really right now. Richie Hearn is still there, the first car on the outside, all the way around the track, and he is losing ground as he touches Nate Fields there a little bit. I think he's okay, but you can see he gets a little bit in the corners, but as you go down the straightaway, you can see he has no help there, and everyone on the middle and the bottom are starting to move forward. So the middle and the bottom is where you want to be, but that's also the most risky and the most dangerous. So Richie's going to have to change his strategy if he wants to move up any further spots there. But Richie has been that outside driver the whole race.
Huge contact. Matt Wagner, Gary Lovern, hard in the wall. There's Edson Santos is also involved. Caution is back out.
John Stellard also involved. I believe that might have started from Matt Wagner and Ryan Kelly. Sorry, Gary Lovern and Ryan Kelly.
Yeah, here we go. That's Frank Irwin Jr. on the top. And you see Ryan Kelly try to shoot the gap, contact with both Wagner and Lovern. Santos gets into, Edson Santos got into, I believe.
That's the Stellard incident, I believe.
Yeah, he got into primetime John Stellard, trying to get this backed up enough to see it. There we go. And
that's just what I was mentioning there, Murph. It was the outside line is the safest place to be because everyone's trying to go for that middle. And if you're in the middle, that's where the riskiest place to be. But go ahead.
Sorry, I had to yawn. No, it is. You're exactly right. You see Edson Santos, the right front flopping around. He is going to be able to come grab his fast repair. Gary Lovern is under tow, so too is primetime John Stellard. Stellard has already used his fast repair, so he is going to be done for the night. You see some cars headed toward pit lane. Wagner with a broken front wing. For Ryan Kelly, rather, he's also broken the front wing completely off of his number 33 machine. Those cars all headed for a fast repair. And with 10 laps to go, Shane Coker is your leader from Kyle Clinworth and Mason Mitchum. Do thank everybody for tuning in. If you haven't done it, make sure you hit the like button on the video, ring the bell, subscribe to the channel so that you can get in on all of the iRacing fun. We've got a race every night this week except for Sunday here on the channel. It's all Indy cars all the time with the exception of Friday. We'll have the AMA Archway Industrial Coatings Truck Series. Caleb Brashear and I will bring that one to you. But we've got Indy cars the rest of the week. And Shane Coker is your leader, and he has a ton of fans in the chat. They're cheering him on. His entire team that is not racing in this race.
Just for reference, Charles Teed got lucky dog that this caution here, so he's going to be back on the lead lap again. Let's see if he can make some moves forward. As we can see, it takes about 4 or 5 laps or so to really get into that pack. So rejuvenation for Teed of sorts, and it's quite possible that maybe he could pick up some more spots that he didn't realize he'd be getting. But he really needs it to stay green for the rest of the time, or we really won't make any progress at all. We're going to be about 8 to go when we go green here. But yeah, I think the strategy here really is we have to try and make moves on the middle and the bottom. I don't think the top line is really going to work anymore, especially when everyone's on full rich at this point. So curious to watch Richie Hearn in general. I want to see if he is going to make a move in the middle or the bottom. Probably has to swing to the bottom and try and clear a couple cars here. Richie Hearn has been the master of that top line there. Chris Stouffer is another one who is just kind of hanging out with him on the outside there. But if you want to win this race, it's going to be time to change your strategy a bit, and hopefully your car works accordingly.
Yeah, you do. And you know, this is both a blessing and a curse for Coker, right? Because he's out front, he's got himself in a rhythm, he's got the tool set, he's got himself going exactly like he wants to do, and now he's got to do it all over again. He's going to be out of rhythm. It's going to take a couple of laps to build back up. That's the curse. The blessing is.
I disagree. It's a blessing. He's had to run 4 laps now under yellow where no one's passing him.
Well, I was going to say
laps you have to worry about it.
Well, but that's the flip side, right? It's fewer laps to worry about it. Plus, he's had a chance to get the tires cooled off, and so he's going to have that advantage. The green flag is back out. Great restart from the front of the field, and we're going to keep it right on Shane Coker as he gets 8 laps to go here. Area 51 at Fontana, the California 200. For the Aliens is winding down, and Shane Coker has got the lead, Andrew. But he's got a snarl of hungry drivers behind him. Kyle Clinworth, Mason Mitchum, Chris Stouffer, and Kenneth Smith, who's been worth the price of admission all day. Big-time move from Chris Stouffer. He's going to make it 3 wide, and here comes Smith.
We usually see the 4D Racewear guys doing, oh my goodness, Richie Hearn almost ran over someone in turn 4 there, but I think we got away with it. We usually talk about the 4D Racewear wall, if I'm not mistaken, Murph. It comes to this point in the race, and we got 4D drivers that are basically blocking the whole way for each other, but now we got Votive Racing drivers that are doing it. So quite an interesting change of team scenery here, if you ask me.
You know, you do, and if there's one guy who is going to be apt to break that up, break up the party, it's going to be Chris Stouffer. And Richie Hearn is rallying on the top one more time. Stouffer now, big move, and he just about chopped the nose off of Kenny Smith. 4 wide one more time, 6 laps to go. They're going to have to do this for 12 more miles, and you can throw a blanket over the top 8, top 10. And look at Gael Brooks. Gael Brooks in the orange and blue car on the bottom, he's 11th. Andrew, he's 11th.
Definitely, it's one of those patient races for Kyle Brooks. We usually see him in a fuel save, but obviously that was not really the strategy for this race so much today. So now it's time for Kyle Brooks to mix it up with the pack, and he's had a lot of opportunities in the back of the pack to try all sorts of different lines. So let's see what he's learned.
He has contact between Eric Peterson and Kenny Smith. They get away with it, and Richie Hearn now moves to the tall side of the racetrack. He'll pull even with teammate Chris Stover as they go 4 wide for the lead. Can Shane Coker hold on?
Stockner.
Yeah, Stockner's coming on the bottom, and I thought he was going to drive it down to the apron. Everybody makes it through. We're going to have 4 laps to go this time. Shane Coker's still in the lead.
No one's been able to do anything with Coker on the bottom yet. This is very, very reminiscent of the Chris Stover situation, and as long as Coker has that bottom lane and doesn't drift up any... Oh, there's Richie Hearn in the wall.
Yeah, he got blocked up there. Go ahead.
As long as Coker just holds that first lane there, it's going to be very difficult, especially when all the cars are packed together. There's no way to really make a draft situation. You have to have someone back off a little bit and get some sort of speed to outrun on the outside, which we saw several times from these drivers. But everyone is so close together that the bottom line is just going to work for now.
Yeah, ideally what you'd want to do is if you're Clinworth or whoever's going to make that move in lane 2, you want to fall behind Shane Coker, charge the hybrid, and you're going to want to...
What's happening? You see that they're starting to fall off a little bit. Mason Mitchum, I think, is setting up for something here. He's got a little bit of clean air in between Coker and Clenworth, but you also have to do it soon because a caution can ruin this whole thing.
You know, it can, but what you want to do is you want to be right about where Mitchum is down the straightaway, and then pop out and hit the hybrid going through the corner so that you build the run and you're able to out drag Coker to the line. We're not going to get that chance, and this is going to end the race.
Right, man.
Caution is out. Shane Coker is going to be your winner.
That's just the thing. You can watch the behavior of these cars. They're all within. You just start sticking rulers between these tires, Murph, and if you don't have any sort of breakup with these cars, you think that you're going pedal to the metal, trying to get any position you can, but you have to have someone try and hold back a little bit. But when these drivers are so close together, that increases the chance of a situation like we just saw.
It does. Contact between Edson Santos and Nicholas Stockner induced that one. You've got Frank Irwin Jr., Matty Wagner involved up at the top. Meatballs for Craig Forsyth as well. Forsyth got tagged. Netcode by Hugo Gala is coming back up the track. There's your end. There's Shane Coker, and he is going to take the checkered flag behind the pace car. Final lap at Fontana, and this is easy, right? This is the blessing part. He doesn't have to go flat out. He can ride quietly at 68 miles an hour and see Barney throw the checkered flag. What a cool moment for Shane Coker.
Well, another odd thing that's happened here, Murph, is that the pole sitter has also won the race. How often does that happen at Fontana? Do you have a stat for that one?
Not very often. Qualifying here is notoriously pretty meaningless. Well, it didn't really mean anything today either, but I'll tell you what did happen was that Shane Coker is going to be your winner, and he's running away. He's running away, and Clindy is chasing him. They want to give him his love tap for taking home a checkered flag. Anyway, there they go toward victory lane and the celebratory crash.
Okay, I want donuts. I was expecting donuts, vote of the team. Come on.
Well, they can't do donuts. They've crashed the cars through victory lane. So.
I guess that's their own way of doing donuts. Is give their crew a little bit of work to do for the next 5 to 7 days.
There you go. Your winner tonight, and it's going to be a popular victory in the community. Shane Coker is your winner. Kyle Clinworth second, and Chris Stover brings it home in third. Mason Mitchum fourth. Kenny Smith ran up front all night. Give that man his flowers. He's going to finish in fifth. Eric Peterson sixth. Nate Fields seventh. Ryan Kelly eighth. Charles Teed is ninth. He was the final car that did not wind up upside down on the final lap. Frank Irwin Jr. is going to be credited with 10th. In 11th, it's Hugo Gallas. Craig Forsyth will bring it home 12th. Kyle Brooks 13th. Larry Yingling 14th. Edson Santos 15th. Richie Hearn, Nicholas Stockner, Matt Wagner, Gary Lovern, and Joseph Morales will round out the top 20. In 21st, John Steller, to be prime time, be credited with the 21st position. Out of the race, Jeff Heisong and A.J. Hobson. 23 entered, 21 finished. And I'd be willing to bet we're going to have a very happy Shane Coker in this booth here in just a moment. All right, for the first man into the interview room, we've got our guy Chris Stover. Chris, you've got Murph, you've got Andrew Wood in the P1 broadcasting booth. You hear us?
Yeah, I got you.
You didn't make it easy on yourself. You tore the car up at the beginning, had to fight your way back through. You tried your darndest to wreck it again. What was it like racing in that pack or trying to come up through there with everybody bouncing off each other all the time?
Yeah, that was nerve-wracking, I'll tell you. Yeah, words can't really describe it. It was something else. I mean, cars were bumping, moving all over the place a little bit. You just kind of had to, put your car somewhere and hope for the best. And that last run to the finish there, that's all I did. I just tried to hold my line, and we ended up 4 wide a lot of times, bumping and banging wheels. It was pretty scary. It was fun at the same time. So, it was one of those. I wouldn't want to do it again necessarily. I would like to see this a day race and it be real hot so we get strung out. But it's fun nonetheless.
Well, it's interesting you mentioned that, Chris, because if it was a day race and you had something similar happen, it may be more difficult for you to get back to the front again. But I'm curious to see how the lines migrated as the transition went from day into night. Was the grip still pretty similar going from the top, or did you have to kind of migrate to the middle where it's slightly more dangerous, or where was the line actually, and how could you have possibly gotten up to Coker on the last lap with the strategy you had?
Well, earlier in the race, I was able to get up front and hold the white line and just ride that the whole way around. Some unfortunate events there happened while I was holding the white line that brought out that caution. But, throughout the race there towards the end, when you're back in traffic, you had the dirty air to contend with, so it was harder to hold the bottom when you're behind somebody, of course. So you just kind of look for clean air and hope for the best. I mean, the only way I was going to get by, have a chance at Coker was to hopefully trap Clindy down behind him, but that just never happened the way it shook out. Always having somebody fill in a gap everywhere. So it was a lot of intense racing.
It looked intense, but you managed to bring it home on the bottom step of the podium and a well-deserved result. Chris, you were worth the price of admission. As always, you get on the podium, you get the mic, friends, family, sponsors. Go ahead and shout them out, my man. You got it.
Shout out to 40 Racewear. Check out 40racewear.com. Shout out to the league, you guys up in the booth. I know it was an entertaining race to call. There was plenty of action out there. So be watching this one back, and hopefully I didn't embarrass myself too much.
No, you. As always, it's always fun. Watching you, Chris. Keep going fast, having fun, buddy, and we'll see you at the next one.
It's also not very embarrassing for you to not make a fool of yourself either, Chris. I'm sure that you were just enjoying going back and forth through the field.
It's funny you said that because I came into the night saying I'm just going to go out here and have fun, and I didn't qualify. Gave me some cars to pass there, and then I had to do it again. So yeah, made for a good, exciting race for myself. But yeah, thanks, guys.
You're more than welcome. Keep going fast, having fun, buddy.
Thank you.
That is Chris Stouffer. He runs third for our second place man. We're going to bring in Kyle Clinworth. Clindy, you've got Murph, you've got Andrew Wood in the P1 broadcasting booth. So what would it have taken to load one up and get by Shane there at the end?
Honestly, it was really hard to pass the car on the bottom. You kind of saw that with when Kenneth Smith was trying to do that with me earlier. Like the most you could ever do is maybe get a nose ahead, like going into turn 3. But like to do that, you have to give up on regenerating the hybrid for the next lap. So anytime I would do that, I would put myself in jeopardy of being swallowed up by everyone behind me. And on the last lap, the last lap that was green, if I had known there was going to be a yellow, I could have snuck my nose out in front just on entry to 3, which is where the yellow came out. But I was pretty happy to finish second and to secure a good finish for the points.
Yeah, I saw you, Clendy, pull off on one of the yellow flags there off on the back straight. Were you having a problem with something, or
I had to reply to a text message from my realtor.
Well, that explains it.
Yeah. So if anyone doesn't know, I'm moving back to the Midwest. I put an offer in on a house in Milwaukee, so I'll be very busy moving there over the next couple of months.
In terms of how the race went for you, it looked like you were just kind of hanging out in the top 7 or 8 or so there, and not really trying to get to the front so much. Was it really kind of a fuel save mode for you, or were you thinking of a different sort of strategy?
Yeah, so I wasn't looking to save fuel to cut a stop, but just to make my last stop faster. Before the yellow came out with like 37 to go, I was planning to pit on that lap. I had just told everyone in the room I was going to pit, and then the caution happened. My idea was that I would come in, fill up the least amount of fuel possible to get to the end, and then run through the pack and try to break away that way. Since we couldn't break away when we were in the pack, I figured if I was the first one to the pack and navigate through the pack, through the undercut and unlap myself, that would be a way that I could make up 4 or 5 seconds and then break away from the draft entirely, and then no one could keep up. But just wasn't meant to be able to play that card tonight, and got to lead a bunch of laps instead. So don't mind being up front instead of having to dig myself out of a hole I put myself in.
Well, I'll tell you what, you did so in fine style. You're bringing home in second spot, Clindy. I know moving is stressful, and so for heaven's sakes, you gotta send those messages and reply to them when you can. So don't let that be too much of a stressor for you. With all that said, you get the mic. Friends, family, sponsors, shout them out, my friend.
Yeah, first and foremost, congratulations to Shane. I'm so happy that he was able to notch his first league win today, and I'm sure he's going to have a laundry list of people to thank that have helped him get here. But it's so special to be a part of the sim racing community that Craig has built here in Area 51, but Shane's done the same in Votive, and we had a lot of cars with VRL on the side of them today, and we all worked together to make sure that we could all get good finishes, and it's because of Shane that we worked together, right? And so he's a very important figure in the community. He's one of my very best friends. I'm very happy to share the track with him, and very happy he got this win. So congrats to him. Congrats to Chris for sharing the podium with us. Mason did a great job playing defense back there, keeping people away from Shane's inside rear. And of course, thanks to all you guys at the channel, Murph, Wood, and then of course Gary and LGN, who were running Tuesday night top split before this, and all my friends and family all around the world, wherever they may be. Mom and Dad, thanks again. I know my mom was watching; she's my biggest fan. So other than that, oh yeah, a couple more things. One, if you check out with my promo code ClendySendy at advance.gg, you'll get 10% off your order. And I will be at the Sim Gaming Expo next month. So I'll be there with a bunch of other friends. I know Murphy will be there, and be fun to meet some people. So just let me know and we can meet up and hang out and high five and such. So I'll catch you all later.
Absolutely, Clinty. Thank you so much for stopping in and stopping by. Keep going fast, having fun, buddy. We'll see you at the next one. And that is going to bring in the man of the hour, and this is probably going to rank among the most popular wins of the season. Shane Coker, welcome to Victory Lane. You've got Murph, you've got Andrew Wood in the P1 broadcasting booth. When you got to the lead and got to the bottom, did you know that nobody was going to be able to pass you, and how hard did they work you for it?
Yeah, you just never know. I knew on that restart that I got by Kenneth. The goal was just try to get by those guys as quick as I could, get to the bottom, and then just try to hold it the best I could. That was a team effort tonight too. Life's a little easier when Mason's, not pushing you from behind, or Clundy's on the outside squeezing down. This is a team effort, and that race I probably do not get without my team here tonight, and just communicating with each other and figuring out what we needed to do. So that's a big shout out to tonight, first and foremost.
Yeah, Shane, nice win there. That's definitely really, really good for you. And I'm just kind of interested to hear your thoughts about qualifying on pole and then taking that pole to a win. That's not something we typically see here at our club. We saw you kind of drop back a little bit at the start of the race, perhaps maybe 10th, 11th or so before the night transition, but you managed to find your way back up there again. So talk about how your race unfolded and how you fell back and how you came back up to the front again.
Yeah, qualifying, I felt like I didn't really do anything special. Just tried to take some of the lessons I've learned from my teammates, Casey and Mason and John, Indy, everybody who's such good qualifiers on my team. We really feel like we are one of the best qualifying teams out there and put good effort into it. I mean, Clay got one in votive Sunday night, and, it feels like almost our whole team's pulled one in a league at some point now. So just follow their instructions and just hit the bottom. That's about it there. Yeah, for the dropping back in the beginning, I was trying to hit trying to go like 40 laps, just trying to, I didn't know what tires were going to be like or anything like that. I just wanted to kind of save some fuel, stay safe and early on, and feel out how people were going to drive around. And once that first caution came out, it was kind of like, okay, you can kind of toss this in map one and start to race it. And at that point, I've kind of learned over time some moves to try to work your way to hit that bottom line into three, get the runs to get down low and stuff. And so yeah, just really excited. It has been a long time coming. Murph has been with me for almost 2 years, and this is the first time I finally got on a podium. Finally.
Absolutely. Well, I tell you what, Shane, it's always a pleasure. It's always a pleasure talking to you. I know you and I have had a lot of discussions offline and just playing other things and so forth. It was a pleasure to call your league. It's a pleasure racing in your league. Thank you so much for stopping in. Keep going fast and having fun, buddy. This isn't the last time you'll be up here.
Yeah, sure. Can I do some quick shout outs real fast?
Oh, yeah. I forgot you didn't get a chance to do that.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Yes. Yeah. First, I just want to shout out my team. Without those guys putting in the time to get better, they really pushed me. I've always said I wanted to be the worst one on the team, and that's always my goal. I like putting smart people around me, and I feel like I've done that. I want to shout out to Clendy and everyone that I've been around over the last 2 years that, just talking shop, working to get better and everything. I don't get in positions like this today without those conversations with people and getting them, new friendships and everything. And, and so I'm just thrilled. Thank you, P1 Broadcasting, for doing such an amazing job. And giving everyone a reason to want to come out almost every night of the week and do their best. So thank you to you guys. I think, is there anyone else? Man, I don't know. If I forgot, I'm sorry. I just want to go see if I have like a beer in the fridge or something and go celebrate. So Thank you guys again very much for doing this. Oh, Craig is the last one. Craig, thank you for Area 51. You do so well with this. This is one of my favorite leagues. Very fun to run in. Very good group of people. So thank you to Craig. And that's all I got, guys.
You're more than welcome, my man. Go celebrate.
Yes.
The beer is very important. Sure Murphy will endorse that.
Yes,
I agree.
fully endorsed. Go get a cold one, Shane. You've earned it. All right, my man.
Yep. Take care, guys. Have a good night.
Yes, sir. That is Shane Coker. He is tonight's winner. And Andrew, judging from the chat, this is going to be a popular win here tonight at Fontana.
You know, it's always great when a new driver reaches victory lane. It's something to be celebrated for sure, and that just kind of shows how deep this field is, that anyone can win at any point. And you never count anybody in this field out from doing something spectacular. And we've spoken to pretty much all the drivers on this grid at one point or another. I've met new drivers just interviewing them along with you, and in the past when I've been with Gael also in this league. You know, this league is, like Shane said, very important to a lot of people, and it's very well revered, and you could see why. You see that drivers break through all the time and find themselves in victory lane or on the podium, and that you can see the excitement when they talk to us as well. So it's really, really great, and I echo Shane's comments there regarding what Craig has put together here in this league.
Yeah, it is. I mean, this is the oldest continuously run IndyCar league in the service. I believe we're on season 20? Season 22 now. It's been around for a long time. A lot of great drivers have passed through here. From the older guys like Nick DeGroot to Malechka, you, Andrew, have raced here. I've been backwards and upside down in this series a time or two. The names and the list of winners in this league is incredible, and it reads like a who's who of iRacing luminaries, and Shane Coker has added his name to that list tonight. And so congratulations to Shane Coker for joining a pretty cool fraternity. If you want to see more of this action, leave it right here on P1. Tomorrow night is the Formula Indy Series at 8:20 p.m. Eastern. Thursday night we'll have the simulcast of the Elite Racing League P1 IndyCar Championship. That'll be at 7:45. Friday, it's the AMA Archway Industrial Coatings Truck Series live from Richmond. 8:20 pre-race, 8:35 start. Saturday, we'll have the IndyCar iRacing Series presented by 40 Racewear. That's going to happen at 2 o'clock Saturday afternoon. Monday night, it's another doubleheader, beginning with the IndyCar Open Series at 8, the Indy Next Road Series at 10. Top Split Tuesday continues the fun. It's the IndyCar Oval Series. Tuesday night Top Split. Next week, they will be at Indianapolis, Andrew. And they'll be followed by the Indy Next Oval Series Top Split at 9:30. Area 51 next week is off. Do want to thank my broadcast partner, Andrew Wood, all the fans in the stands. You all made this a heck of a show. Chat was very alive and active. Thank you so much for that. If you haven't already done it, make sure you hit the like button on the video, ring the bell, subscribe to the channel so that you too can get in on all the fun later on down the line. Want to thank the drivers on the track. Congratulations to Shane Coker one more time. And we want to thank the people that really make it possible. The military, the police, the firemen, the EMTs driving the ambulance, and Andrew, the nurse that unloads you when you get there. From the bottom of our hearts, we thank you all, and we will see you tomorrow night for FIS at 8:20. Get some sleep, everybody.
Strap in, feel the hum in your hands. This is 4D. Heat on my palms, grip locked, heart racing. Shoes hit the pedal, whole room shaking. Jersey on my back, hat pulled low and blazing. Every turn I take, got the ghosts I'm chasing. 4D in my veins, feel that fire when I play, when I move, when I break, when I bang through the lane. 4D on my skin. different. Yeah, that's winning. Grit in my voice, baseline under my breath, glove print stamped on the wheel like a crest. I don't just play, I live it. Every stitch says get it. From the couch to the checkered, I'm the storm